Okay, so this is the the Muslim population, okay, and also actually projected population from the year 2010 up to 2050. Okay, so we are currently at this stage, okay, 2022. Okay, so the world's population is about 1.9 billion people, which is about 24.9%, or about a quarter lah, okay, quarter of the whole population. And it is projected in the next 30 years there will be about 30%, okay, about one third of the population would be coming from Muslim countries lah, okay. And the Muslims countries are mainly located in the Asia Pacific, which is contributed most by countries like Indonesia, and then we have Malaysia, of course, and also the Middle East, okay, the Arab countries, and some countries in the African. In Europe also, there's quite a sizable numbers, mainly from the Turkey, and also the foreigners or that is coming from other continents, okay, where they reside. So based on that forecast, okay, by 2050, okay, for example, the population will cover about one third, or 30%. Increased number of Muslim people, meaning there will be increase in terms of the halal source. I mean, the demand for halal pharmaceutical, for halal food, okay, will also be increased. So there is a possible opportunity over here. So what is defined by the word halal? Okay, it is actually coming from an Arabic word, whereby it is just means lawful. Okay, it means lawful, and it refers to the things or action permitted by the Sharia law. So this is actually Sharia law is not a law whereby it is claimed to be from the Quran, or another word, it means orders from the God itself, okay, from Allah. And the word halal also can be used to describe something that a Muslim is permitted to engage in. It's not just for eating, okay. It is something that a Muslim can be doing, for example, eating, drinking, or even use, okay. And the opposite of halal would be haram. So haram means it is unlawful or prohibited. Okay, so you have the two words here, halal and also haram. So for example, to move this, okay. So let's say if you want to get a halal certification, so this is the halal certificate given out from JAKIM. Later we'll see in detail what is this halal certificate is all about. So let's say you have an animal source, okay, the for example, food or the pharmaceutical product have something that you need, okay, one of the ingredients is coming from an animal source, and is the animal halal or not, okay. Later I will explain what is halal animal and what is not. Okay, for example, a non-halal animal would be like pig, anything coming out from pig or swine or wild boar, for example. So that will be considered as non-halal. So it will be rejected. But if it is an halal animal, then yes, you can go to the next step. Then the next question would be, is the halal animal slaughtered, meaning properly killed? For example, even though if you have chicken, you have beef, but if it is not slaughtered, okay, then it will still be considered non-halal. Okay, it needs to be slaughtered first. Then if the let's say the chicken is slaughtered, then it will be valid, and the halal certificate can be given out by the appropriate authority lah. But in actuality, the process would be more rigorous than this. Okay, there will be several audits that will be done by the government agency on this. Okay, which is this one. So this is the Malaysian halal certification process flowchart. So it's quite a long way, okay, from start until you want to uh, obtain the issuance of the halal certificate. Okay, first you have to start by doing an online application. This is all done. Let's say you are a company, okay, pharmaceutical manufacturing company, and you want to apply a halal certificate for not the whole product, maybe just one of the product. Okay, for example, okay, you have to go through all of the process. Okay, and if there are things that needs to be reviewed or rejected, then you have to go back and redo that. So there will be an audit here, on-site audit, and if there is any corrective action needed, the parties involved, okay, or the auditors will let you know, okay, and once obtained, then only you will be able to get the issuance of the halal certificate. Okay, so this is an example of the halal certificate given out by the government. Okay, and the agency that is responsible to issue the halal certificate in Malaysia would be JAKIM, okay, Jabatan Kemajuan Islam Malaysia. Okay, and right now it is being put under the jurisdiction of the uh, what do you call that, Majlis Raja-Raja, or the uh, Royal Malay Sultan's Council lah, something like that lah. Okay, but the Director General here is a government servant lah. Okay, so this is an example of halal certificate, and this one is the certification fee, and also based on the type of your business. If it is a micro industry, then your annual fee would be very low. But if your company is a multinational company, MNC, then each of the certificate, maybe for one product, is will cost you about 1,000 ringgit. Okay, which I consider still cheap, because if your company can have a turnover of exceeding 50 million, uh, compared to the 1,000 is just small money lah. So this is the uh, halal logo. Okay, so this is the halal logo uh, provided by JAKIM. So if you see on any product, they have this logo, then it is coming from Malaysia. Okay, if you buy any product that have different halal logo shape, then probably it is not from Malaysia, or it could be a fake halal logo. Okay, so it must be like this, and there should be a standard number. Okay, this MS 15002009. Okay, but this number is based on category. Okay, like I said earlier, 1500 is actually for food, but for pharmaceutical product, it will be MS 2424 dash 2012. Okay, and the one below will be the 10 digits that refers to the file reference number, meaning your product, okay, your own product. And as I said earlier, these are the Malaysian halal standard. Okay, MS stands for the Malaysian standard. You have MS 1500 2000, 1500 2004, 1500 2009, and MS 2424 2012. Actually, the numbers at the back refers to the years. Okay, to the years, untuk tahun. So MS 1500 is actually concerning on food products. Okay, on food products, the MS 1500 2000 is on the general guidelines on production, preparation, handling, and storage of halal food, whereas 2004, halal food production, preparation, handling, and storage, general guideline, first revision. So this is the first revision, and the latest one that you have to sort of like refer if you are planning on getting halal certificate on food products, then you have to refer to the MS 1500 2009. So 2009 is the year lah, okay, the year that it is being revised. So this is second revision. Whereas for pharmaceutical, okay, this is the most important for our field, okay, pharmaceutical product. It will be on MS 2424 2012, okay, halal pharmaceutical general guideline. So this is the example of the Malaysian standard on halal food standard, okay, MS 1500 2009. And this actually you can check on the Malaysian standard website, okay, Department of Standards Malaysia. You can get a copy of this. So first, we are going to look into the MS 1500 2009. Okay, just a little bit of the halal food standards. So this is for it covers food and drinks, okay, and all their ingredients permitted under the Sharia law, and fulfill the following conditions. So these are the conditions that you have follow in order to abide by the MS 1500 2009. The first one is it doesn't contain any parts or products of animals that are non-halal, or any parts or products of animal which are not slaughtered according to the Sharia law. Okay, so there are two here, which is doesn't contain anything from animals that are non-halal, or even if the animal is halal, if they are not slaughtered the right way, then it is still not permitted as well. And the second one, it doesn't contain any najis according to Sharia law. So this is called najis. Najs is the English spelling, but in Malay it is Najis lah. Okay, najis. And the third one would be safe for consumption, non-poisonous, non-intoxicating, or non-hazardous to health. Okay, so these are the conditions that your product have to follow in order to be certified halal food by the Malaysian standard. Okay, and the fourth one will be not prepared, processed, or manufactured using equipment contaminated with najis according to the Sharia law, and doesn't contain any human parts or its derivatives that are not permitted by Sharia law. And number six, during the preparation, process, handling, packaging, storage, and distribution, the food is physically separated from any other food that does not meet the requirements stated in items A, B, C, D, or E. So that means the halal food must always be segregated, okay, even during the preparation, the process, the handling, the packaging, and storage and distribution. It has to be separated from the non-halal products, okay. So the word najis, okay. So this is the definition according to Sharia law, uh, which is the first one is dogs, okay, and pigs and their descendants. Okay, what does it mean by their descendants? If let's say you take a dog and try to what do you call that? Mix it with another animal, crossbreed with another animal. Let's say with a cat, for example, the offspring of it would still be considered najis, because anything that comes from dogs and pigs would be considered najis. And then halal food that is contaminated with things that are non-halal, okay, which still considered najis, even though it originally start as halal, but if you end up mixing it or like accidentally mix it with non-halal things, then it will be considered najis. And halal food that comes into direct contact with things that are non-halal, any liquid and objects discharged from the orifice of human beings or animals such as urine, blood, vomit, pus, placenta and excrement, sperm and ova of pigs and dogs, except sperm and ova of other animals. So uh, these are also considered to be najis. Okay, but milk, sperm and ovum of human animal except dog and pig are not najis. So you have to take note on this. Only sperm and ovum of pigs and dogs are considered to be najis, but uh, the milk, sperm, sperm of human and other animals are not considered najis. And number 6, carry on or meat, okay, or halal animals that are not slaughtered according to Sharia law. That means even like I said earlier, even if you have halal animals like chicken, lamb, or anything, but if they are not slaughtered correctly according to the Sharia law, then they will be considered as najis. And khamar, and food or drink which contain or mix with khamar. Khamar means alcoholic beverages and also intoxicant. So now the next part will be on the slaughtering. Okay, uh, what is the right way or the correct way to slaughter an animal according to the Sharia law, so that the animal will remain halal is to cut or maybe to sever the trachea, okay, here, the esophagus, and both the carotid arteries and also jugular veins to hasten the bleeding and death of the animal. So that means the slaughtering must be done in a clean and also what do you call that, fast, quickly, so that you don't like uh, torture the animal and let it bleed to death. So it must be quick. Okay, the knife that you are using must be very very sharp. Okay, you cannot use a blunt knife, then it will be like the animal will feel very painful. Okay, but if you use a sharp knife and cut it straight away, then the animal will be like straight away die lah. So these are the requirements for halal food according to MS 1500 to 2009. Okay, the second revision. You have the management responsibility, the premises, devices, utensil, machine, and also processing aids, hygiene, sanitation, and food safety. Number 5 will be processing of halal food. 6 will be storage, transportation, display, sale, and also serving of halal food. And lastly will be the packaging, okay, labeling, and also advertising. All right, now we are going to the general guideline given out by the Malaysian standards, okay, on the topic of halal pharmaceutical. Okay, please remember MS 2424 2012. Okay, if later on in the next 1 or 2 years when you go to work, some companies they have their own the halal, normally they will put it under QA team, or QA department. Like my last previous company, they have one or two staff, okay, which is their job is, they even have their what do you call that, specific position, which is called halal executive, meaning they are an expert on how to get halal certification for product. Okay, so it is valuable knowledge, and also if you are an expert on the halal matters, then it will be good for you Can you close the mic? I'm not sure who is it there. Can you mute? Okay. So this is definition on halal pharmaceutical according to the Malaysian standard. Okay. So all of these are facts. Okay. Which we have to follow according to the uh, uh, government agency. So pharmaceutical products that contain ingredients permitted under the Sharia law and also fulfill the following conditions. The first one is doesn't contain any parts or products or animals that are non-halal or any parts or products of animal which are not slaughtered according to the Sharia law. Okay. So earlier, just now in the slaughtering, you have seen that it must cut. Okay, it must cut the trachea, esophagus, and both the carotid arteries and also jugular veins. Okay, to hasten the bleeding and death of the animal, you must use a sharp knife as well. And another thing is the person who is actually slaughtering the animal must also be a Muslim. Okay, uh, if I want to discuss this in detail, then there will be several criteria, okay, for the slaughtering process. But the important one is this one, okay, this statement here. And the second condition is the halal pharmaceutical does not contain any najis, and it must be safe for consumption. It's not poisonous, not intoxicating, and also it's not hazardous to health according to the prescribed dosage. Number four, it is not prepared, processed, or manufactured using equipment contaminated with najis, and doesn't contain any human parts or its derivative that are not permitted by the Sharia law. And during the preparation, processing, handling, packaging, storage, the halal pharmaceutical products are physically separated, okay, from any other pharmaceutical products that do not meet the requirements stated in A until E. So this is similar to the conditions for the food product. Okay, and the definition of najis according to MS 2424 is it is uh, sort of like differentiate into severe najis or najis berat. Okay, in Malay, we call it najis berat. Okay, severe najis, which are mainly and also pigs. Okay, or anything that is coming out from the animals. Okay, that includes liquid and also object discharged from their orifice, descendants, and also derivative. Okay, so example, it may include porcine-derived gelatin, insulin, and also hormones. So if you see the word porcine over here on any product, okay, either food product or pharmaceutical product, that means it contain pig, okay, pigs. So meaning it is not halal. In fact, it is najis. And you also have the second type of najis, which is light najis, or what we call najis ringan. This is the only najis in this category is urine from a baby boy, okay, at the age of 2 years, okay, and below, who has not consumed any other food except his mother's milk. So for light najis, you only have to remember only one type, okay. It is from a baby boy, okay, not girl, a baby boy at the age of 2 years and below, and does not consume any other food except the mother's milk, okay, meaning breastfeeding lah. And you also have medium najis, the third types, which does not falls under A or B. Okay, for example, it includes vomit, pus, blood, alcohol. Just now, any meats that is not being properly slaughtered, okay, liquid and object discharge from the orifice of human, okay, let's say urine, for example, or stool, so that will be considered as najis. So the management responsibility, it shall ensure that the halal assurance system is comprehensively designed and also correctly implemented, incorporating the application of GMP and also QC. So for your product to have the halal certification or to get the halal certification, you must have another sort of like this halal assurance system. Okay, besides having GMP and also QC QA, there must be another system to ensure the halal on those products. Okay, which is the halal assurance system. So this will ensure that the pharmaceutical are designed and developed in a way that comply with the requirement of halal and GMP, and the processing or the production line will be operated for halal pharmaceutical only. It means it will not be mixed, okay, for other product. If you have a production line, I mean, you already dedicated this machine, for example, the tableting machine. So you have already assigned that only for halal tablets. So you cannot mix it with other types of products. And if the processing line which contain or contaminated with najis, then the ritual of cleansing shall be required. So this you can refer to the Annex A in the MS 2424, okay, according to the Malaysian standard. So fundamentals for halal pharmaceuticals in GMP. So the requirement described in the peaks. Okay, if you remember, this is what we have seen last week. Okay, under the topic of small section of QMS, QAQC, GMP guideline and PICS annexes are integral part of the standard. So these are the elements of PICS. You have this is you can see this on the previous lecture note. Okay, you have QMS, personnel, premises, documentation, production, QC, contract manufacture analysis, complaint, product record, and also self-inspection. Okay, so these are also being referred to in MS 2424. So these are the things that you have to take into consideration in order for your product to be halal. You have to consider the source of materials, okay, the raw materials that you purchase. You have to make sure that it's coming from halal sources. That means the raw material also must be halal certified. Okay, it must be halal certified. Then only it can be used to produce halal certified product. Okay, and you must also have the halal assurance system. The halal committee is a committee that the company would normally set up in order to give out advice, okay, on things that have to be improved, especially on the halal matters. And the halal committee normally will consist on experts from the halal production. Okay. So the QMS, okay, the quality management system, will consist of the quality assurance, GMP, product quality review, and one of it is to ensure that halal pharma manufactured according to the halal requirements. So these are all statements that I have taken from the standard, okay, MS 2424. Okay, I'm going to skip to the second one. Personnel must be sufficient and qualified, having separate people responsible for production and quality control. So you can have one person is in the production, and the same person is doing quality. So that will create bias lah. Okay, you have to assign two different person. So it is sort of like a check and balance. And then appropriately train in GMP regulatory requirements and also understand the responsibilities. And these are the extra requirement if you require your product to have halal certification. It also shall establish a halal committee, which is led by a trained Muslim and shall consist of purchasing personnel and fulfill a minimum of two-thirds Muslim quorum. Okay, and they are responsible to ensure the effectiveness in the implementation of the halal assurance system. So the numbers of what they call that staff, okay, that you must have in the purchasing is they are doing the purchase of the raw material, okay, to produce the halal certified product. So there must be two-third Muslim, okay, to be in the purchasing staff, and the committee must be led by a trained Muslim. And continuous training on halal, which is approved by the halal committee, and they also should be periodically assessed. That means every year, okay, or every 6 months, okay, they will sort of like assess your skills or your knowledge on the halal. And strict personal hygiene is an integral requirement for halal. That means for the personnel, for the staff. For premises and also equipment, the rest are all similar to what we have seen in the topic of the small section and the QMS, but there must be an additional requirement here, which is risk of contamination of non-halal, okay, non-halal material or product, which is falls under 4.9 over here. So this is an additional requirement. And the production line, okay, for the halal product must be supervised and verified by competent authority, and it can only operated, it can only operate for halal pharmaceutical products only. Okay, you cannot mix it with other types of products. So for documentation, an extra certification is needed, which is the halal certification, and everything that involve to obtain the halal certification, audit report whatsoever, is the same as you have seen the flow chart just now on how to obtain the halal cert. So that is the document that need to be kept. Okay. This one is almost the same. The production, the packaging. So the consumable and non-consumable packaging and printed material shall be from any origin that is decreed as halal by Sharia law. Okay, so the packaging design, logo, symbol, name, and picture shall not be misleading and or contravening the principle of Sharia law. So for example, like this uh, Cadbury chocolate here, okay, even though the content, okay, the chocolate itself can be certified halal. That means it does not contain any porcine, any pigs or what they call that, products. Okay, but the image used on the packaging here is misleading, and hence, if you apply to get halal certification, then you will not be getting that certificate lah. Okay, you have to use other advertisement design or logo here. So this is not suitable for halal products. And QC, okay, the first two are the same, except that ensure all material used are halal compliant. So you have to add on another criteria over here. and it shall not be made from any source that is decreed as non-halal by the Sharia law. And to take precaution to prevent non-halal contamination on the production line. So this is also another things that QC or quality control have to take precaution. Oops, sorry. This one is complaints and product recall. So the causes of halal non-compliance is investigated and appropriate measures to prevent reoccurrence. So let's say if one of your products halal certificate got taken back, okay, if you remember a few years ago, the famous cake shop, the secret recipe, okay, the halal certificate got taken back, okay. It's not on the product itself, okay, meaning the cake contain any pigs ingredient or anything. It's just that the requirement, okay, to obtain that halal certificate, meaning if they cannot provide proof, for example, of the raw materials they are using. So these are some of the things that can cause your halal certificate to be revoked. Okay, so you have to take note on that as well. So self-inspection, which is like internal audit. Okay, this one is just the subunit on it. I'm just gonna skip on this. So actually the MS2424 is the first Malaysian halal pharmaceutical standard, okay, which is before this there is no halal standard for pharmaceutical product, and there is no guideline for JAKIM, okay, the Jabatan Kemajuan Islam Malaysia, to provide the halal certificate for pharmaceutical product. Only in 2012 they came up with this, and a lot of the pharmaceutical company are trying to obtain the halal certification, because once you get this, then there will not be any doubt, okay, especially among the Muslim consumers, on whether the product is halal or not lah. Okay, same case for the vaccines, okay, for the COVID vaccine, okay, there are issues whether they contain any pig residue or whatsoever. So the vaccine company are trying to get the halal certification on those vaccine, okay, in order to further ensure their consumer, their customers, the patient itself, that it is actually halal products. So according to Islamic principles, okay, to protect life is top priority. Okay, in an emergency or if there are no choice, okay, it is allowed to use non-halal product. Okay, and but at the same time, there must be a continuous quest or continuous effort in order to search for halal alternative. Okay, like the vaccine that I said earlier, during the beginning, okay, all the vaccine do not have any halal certification, but we still take it because it is considered to be darurat, emergency. Okay, so it is allowed to take it, and if there is no other option, okay, you can also take it. So this is the simplified flow. So product must first be registered or notified with DCA. Quality, safety, efficacy are already evaluated. Then only JAKIM will conduct the Halal Pharma audits. So JAKIM will issue halal certificates, and it also has powers to issue or revoke the certification, meaning JAKIM can give the certificate, and also they can take it back. So these are common ingredients that are commonly used. For example, the substance gelatin. The function are capsules, emulsifier, fillers. It can comes from skin, bones, joints, or collagen derivative, or it can also be sourced from vegetables. Okay, but from animals, mainly from bovine and also porcine. So cow and also pigs. So for the products to obtain halal certification, it must be from cow source. Okay, and then glycerin and also glycerol. This one can be obtained from lard, vegetable, or byproducts of biodiesel production. So only number 2 and 3 can be used if your product needs to be halal. Okay, the first one, lard, cannot lah. Lard coming from pigs. So number 1 is najis. Alcohol and also methanol, mainly used as solvent and antiseptic. The first one is obtained through fermentation. Okay, fermentation is the same method to get the alcoholic drinks. So second one is chemicals, same like the one in the lab. And you also have stearates, for example, like magnesium stearic acid or calcium stearate, mainly used as lubricant and also binders. This also can comes from animal fats like lard, or another option will be from vegetable sources, okay, like palm oil. So enzyme, trypsin, sources from pig's pancreas, ACTH from pig's pituitary gland, heparin can come from pig intestine or from bovine itself. So halal and consumerism, lack of understanding or awareness among the producers and also manufacturers, especially not just among the non-Muslim, but even among the Muslim themselves also. They just simply know, oh, as long as it is chicken and beef doesn't contain any pig ingredients, then it will be still considered halal. But there are other uh, um, criteria that they have to follow. Okay, even in fact, if you want to get the halal certification, cleanliness is one of the most important criteria. Okay, for for JAKIM to inspect. If your place does, the manufacturing line, the production line is not spotless, not up to their standard, then you will not get the halal certificate themselves. Okay, but uh, in this case, you see the news over here, nasi ayam perisa Arab. Okay, even though it is made out of chicken, but if you add alcoholic beverages into the cooking, it will straight away make the food become non-halal. Okay, even though they doesn't contain any pigs, okay, inside, uh, but if you add alcoholic drinks, like sometimes when they cook, they put beer or they put wine into the cooking. Like for example, the Chinese, they put cooking wine into the recipe, so that renders the food to be haram lah, which is non-halal. And then lack of enforcement and also monitoring. For example, this halal certificate is placed or displayed, but it is actually a photocopy. So probably a fake one. Okay. So the enforcement must be done by the issuer of the certificate, which is JAKIM. Okay, only they themselves have the power to enforce this. And breach of hygiene regulation. So it is not, as I said just now, it is not just on the material itself being halal and non-halal, but the cleanliness also have to be very important lah. I mean, you have to be very, very clean. So these are actually tasks for you, okay, to determine whether the products uh, halal or not. Okay, if the product is expired or having physical contamination, will it be halal or is it straight away become non-halal? And another one is that cockroach in a loaf of bread, is it halal or not? So these are some of the sort of like trivia question for you to ponder and determine whether it is halal. Another thing is the usage of unauthorized halal logo. So this is actually happening in Malaysia. Okay, you see here the brand, what do you call that? Jco, I think. Jco, donuts and coffee. Even they themselves using different, what do you call that? Logo of halal. So this is not uh, I mean coming out from Jakim lah. I mean the correct halal logo. So if you have the halal certificate, please display the correct halal logo. If like this, you can sort of like inquire. Okay, you can ask if they actually obtain the Jakim certified halal certificate, or they simply just put this halal logo. Okay, because they feel that we make halal products, halal food. We don't sell any pigs ingredient, no alcoholic beverages. Okay, so you cannot get this as well. Even if the restaurants, okay, if you go to restaurants, if they say that uh, no pigs, no lard, that means they do not serve any pigs or lard, but the restaurant doesn't have any halal certification. Why? Because they serve alcoholic drinks. Okay, even if you serve alcoholic drinks, and your food doesn't contain any pigs, you will not get halal certificate. Okay, to obtain Jakim halal certificate, your restaurant needs to be completely void of any non-halal products. So you cannot serve alcohol or sell alcohol. Alright, so basically that is the end of this uh, second topic on halal. For some of you, especially the non-Muslims, so this might be a little bit uh, confusing, okay? But then I have